I picked up this dresser from Facebook Marketplace. Don't know who the manufacturer is or was, no markings anywhere, but dovetail drawers, it's solid construction, and it just needs a little bit of a makeover. So I'm going to completely transform this dresser. So stay with me, hang on, and let's just see how this turns out. The first order of business is that this base has got to go. The dresser has good lines except for this, curly, outdated base that's on here. So here's a look from the back. It's basically screwed in. There's probably some glue holding some of this stuff in here that I'm gonna have to pry off. But one issue that I have is if you can see there where the base is on the outside of that inside piece of wood, that wood right there is part of the side of the dresser. So once I get the base off, that's still going to be there, and I'm going to have to cut it. That's kind of the hard part. That's where it can get messy, but that's what we're going to do.
Well, I thought all the screws out. I thought these were going to be a problem, so I'm going to have to try to pry this off. Oh, and they're stapled too. Yeah, stapled. Look at that. Okay, so I got another one, so I'm gonna go down and work on that one. Well, I'm running kind of a bit of a problem. I think this is glued. This one will come off, but this one is not budging, and I don't see anything else holding it on. So I'm going to try to pry this a little bit too and see what happens. What I don't want to do is mess this up so much that I can't reattach it, because then I've got a real problem if I decide to keep it. So let's see. That was it. Okay, so I pried the other one. This base should lift right up, and it is. And off it comes.
I need to make sure that the bottom of this dresser is going to support the new plinth base that I want to put on here. It seems to be about 3/4 of an inch thick. It's 3/4 of an inch thick all the way around. And that should be enough to support the base and to be able to attach it. So the next order of business is going to be able to get those I guess sidewall extensions cut off and then build the base. So I managed to clamp on this guide so that my cut would be as straight as possible. I certainly don't want to dive down into the dresser, and I spared you the agony of what it took to get that clamped. Well, that worked out pretty good. The cut is fairly straight. I am going to have to sand it a little bit. I'm going to try to do it by Orbital. If that doesn't work, I may have to get out of the planer, but I'm going to try the Orbital first and see if I can't just flatten this out a little bit. But overall, the cut is pretty good. So I'm very pleased with how that turned out.
Okay, I'm going to start with 60 grit, and I'm going to then change to 80 once I get this down. So let's see how this works out.
Well, I wish it went this fast in real life, but it doesn't. Like I said, I started with a 60, ended up with 80, and this sanded down real nice. And then I have to move to the other side and do the exact same thing. And once I have all that done, then we'll start measuring for the base.
I'm going to be making a plinth base for this. This is a sample. I'm using Poplar. So I'm going to put it about an inch recess 58 3/4. And I want an inch on both sides, so it's 2 inches. 56 3/4. So 56 3/4. Six and 3/4. Put that stop right there. That way when I put the other board up here, it'd be the exact same length.
So now I'm going to cut 2 sides and 1 support in the middle, 15 3/8.
So I'm going to be holding this base together with glue and pocket screws. I've already marked the basic where they need to go. Could be holding the base together with pocket screws, and then holding the base to the dresser with pocket screws. So you can see I've already kind of marked them, just roughly. They don't have to be exact, but kind of in the middle of the board. And I'm using a Craig pocket screw jig, and it comes with a little construction manual, and right there it says how you set the collars on the drill bit. Mine's set at 3/4, and then you also want to have the drill on high, so that you drill through this stuff and not splinter it or things like that. So I'm going to be going through the outside edges. Right here you can see the holes. There's 3 holes. I'm going to go through the outside ones and kind of center this board. Luckily the base is about the same width as the supports. It's kind of easy to center. So now I'm going to turn on the wet dry vac. I'm going to go ahead and drill all these pocket holes.
This jig makes it extremely easy to drill all these pocket holes. Once you have it set up, you know where you're going to drill them, and you've got your collar set right according to the thickness of the wood. It's just a matter of just putting the wood in and drilling the holes. So I'm going to put pocket holes in the 2 sides and in the ends of the middle support, and then pocket holes in the front and the back. And once that's done, we'll be ready to start assembling the base. So where the base meets the floor, I don't want that just to be a hard straight edge. I think as a nice added touch, it would look good with a bit of a round over. I think it actually will help it to film a little easier, and aesthetically, I think it will look a little nicer. So practicing on a piece of like wood, same width, that's a scrap piece, and you need to do this and make sure you have the bit set exactly right before you do it on the real wood that you want to cut.
This says these pocket holes are going up, so it means mounted is going down like this. So this will be the part that's going to be on the floor, and that's what I want. Okay, let's do this. Sawdust everywhere. So when that sits down on the floor, yes, that's going to be nice. It gives it a real nice profile on there. And I think I want to do the sides as well. Now let's see how that's going to look butted up against this. I need to chamfer the ends. a little bit. Yeah, nice. So I have this staged. All the corners are on. Now I'm going to take off, loosen one at a time and put glue down here. And then I'm going to clamp it at the bottom. I'm going to clamp it at the bottom with these long clamps. To clamp them all together. And then probably go ahead and drive at least one pocket screw in there while I let the glue dry. So, okay. So I like these clamps. These they work really well. So I only have to loosen one side. And I probably need to loosen the other side too. I'll do them both at once, I guess. I'm using Type Bond 3 glue. It's pretty good glue. I like it. You know, maybe. Well, this will be okay. Okay, gonna do this other end. I need a little bit more glue on this one. All right, snug this back up. This other side. All right, so I'm going to do these ends down here. Something's wrong with this one. It's not square. Here we go. Let's move this into here. Yeah, that looks good. It's all clamped in. I think I can run some pocket screws, at least along the bottom. According to the manual, I'm going to use 1 1/4 inch pocket screws. And I'm going to lay it into this hole in the very bottom. Yeah, but you don't ever want these. I drill a little high. Oh, and I also want to slow it down a little bit. You don't want to push the pocket holes through the other end for any reason. Okay, put a couple down here. I'll make sure it's square. Make sure it's level. And it is. Then I'm going to put the clamp on, then I can drill these pocket holes here. All right. Now that the base is done, I also added some corner supports using these 2x2 scraps that I had from another project. And then what I'm going to do now is to cover the end grains with wood filler so I can make this nice and smooth. So when I paint it, it's going to look like it's I don't see the grain basically. So I went ahead and primed the base and then installed it on the bottom of the dresser. I didn't film that, but it's pretty straightforward. But now I see a different issue that I wasn't anticipating. Now that I have this square, or I guess rectangle, very straight plinth base, it seems to be kind of out of line with the top is a little out of line with the base. The lines don't really match. So now I think what I am going to do, or need to do, is cut the top. That's the next adventure. So I'm going to use my circular saw to cut the top. I'm starting with one of the short sides. And you can see from the video, I'm not holding the saw exactly level, which now I'm going to have to address after I get this cut. The other issue that I found as I was cutting is I have the wrong blade on this the circular saw. I should have a fine tooth blade. This is a coarse, very coarse tooth, not really meant for fine cutting on wood, and the blade is slightly dull anyway. But the side was pretty easy. Wait till you see the adventures on the front though. So I'm double checking the measurement of where I've got the wood clamped onto the top to serve as my guide, and just to make sure that's where it should be.
here's where the fun begins. As you can see, I'm having some issues. One, the blade does not want to cut through this wood. Also, two, the dresser is moving. So I don't have it secured well enough, and it's moving, which makes it that much harder to cut. So I've got a couple problems. One, it doesn't want to cut to begin with, and two, my dresser is moving on me. To make a long story short, I did change to a jigsaw since this was not cutting. The jigsaw blade bent and cut into the top more than I needed, unfortunately. And I really screwed this up, quite frankly. So here's what it looks like when it's all said and done. This is a freaking disaster. I've got now so much repair to do on this front, I hardly don't even know where to begin. Good news is the other short side cut really well, but I'm going to have to address this front now. So to begin my repair job, I'm going to plane this down. I've got some, the overhang is a lot in some areas and less than it should be in other areas. So I'm trying to get down actually to around 9/16. So I'm going to plane this with this hand planer, part of it. And once I've got that to where I think it's helped, then I'm going to start to splicing in some wood to fix the places where it's way too, deep. I guess it's not overhanging enough. Here on this end is actually the worst part. It starts out okay, kind of, but this is where the jigsaw cut into the top. So I'm going to take this piece of wood. I think it's like an 1/8 of an inch thick, and it's almost the right height. I'm going to have to plane it down a little bit on the top. But I'm going to glue and nail this in here so I can get something to work with so that then I can start to make this repair, make the front of this thing symmetrical all the way down. So as you can see, I have this one little part here at the end where I don't know how I cut the in at the top and not at the bottom. But so I have another piece of scrap wood. Always keep your scraps. You never know when you're going to need them. And that fits in there absolutely perfectly from a width standpoint. So I'm going to glue that in and also pop a nail in there. And then this will be at least flat. Then I just need to make it the same width from an overhang standpoint all the way down. So here I'm starting to measure the overhang so I can figure out where I need to start planing the front down. And it's going to be right around in this area. This is where it starts to widen out more than it should be. So I need to plane this down from basically that mark, then we'll be checking all the way down and planing this down until I have it so it's all the same overhang. So after several passes and checking as I go, I finally got this planed down where the rest I will be able to take care with sanding. But I just about got this to where it's even all the way down. On the other end of the dresser, I had some of the same issues with the overhang. However, it's not, the cut isn't as bad. So this I'm going to be able to repair and get even with just my Orbital. I'm using 80 grit sandpaper to begin with, and we're going to sand this and measure and sand and check and sand and measure until I've got this to where it's the same overhang with all the way down. Now it's time to fill in some voids with some Bondo. As you can see, I've got Bondo all the way down through here. We're going to let that dry and sand it, and then we're going to see what we have.
Well, I repaired the top with some spare wood and some Bondo and a lot of sanding. There's a place right down the end. This is going to be okay. I know it still looks kind of nasty right now, but I'm getting ready to prime it. But I was able to repair it. I wish I could have gotten the top off, put it on my table saw. I wish that I had actually an electric circular saw. The battery one, it ate through the battery and just wasn't really powerful enough to cut through that wood. The top, let me show you the top. I had to take it down to bare wood. The finish on it was failing so badly, and I just couldn't get it smooth unless I took it all the way down. So I used 120, finishing up finally with 220, and the top's, it wouldn't matter anyway because I had to patch it, but the top's not necessarily a pretty pattern. It's nothing that I probably would have wanted to have stained anyway. But now I'm going to take mineral spirits, and I'm going to wipe down the whole thing, get the final bits of dust off of this and on the drawers, and then we're going to put it in the spray tent, and we're going to put the first coat of primer. And I'm hoping that these places there in the bottom, on the bulk of the dresser, the base, places like this, I'm hoping it's not going to get any bleed through. If I do, I'm going to have to spot prime those places, but we'll see if I get bleed through or not. Well, my fears came true. Bleed through. I should have, that finish was coming off so easy, I should have just taken it down to bare wood over the entire dresser, and I wouldn't have had this problem. At least a lot less. But so I'm off to get some oil-based primer. Probably going to use coverall, and then we're going to come back and we're going to spray that on.
So I went back over the entire dresser with oil-based primer. I used Cover Stain, and that fixes the bleed through. And so I also had to fill in some areas on the front there where the top was two pieces of wood, and so the seam was showing through, and I needed to fix that. And I used a glazing putty from Bondo to do that. I also had some issues on some of the drawers, but we got all that done, and then I went ahead and sanded that down and spot primed, and then sprayed it the final coat. I didn't show any of that. It's pretty straightforward, but I do want to show you what the final reveal looks like. So this is that dresser that I completely refinished. You can't tell at all that I had a problem cutting the top. Put on the new plinth base, which prompted me to cut the top. New hardware. This came out very, very nice. I'm very pleased with it. The inside of the drawers did not need any work at all, except just some light wood renourishment. I used Howard feed and wax and feed, I think is what it's called. At any rate, this turned out great, and I'm so pleased with how it turned out. So I want to thank you for watching the video, and I only tried to show issues that I had on this project, not every single step that you see on every single video. But I hope you learned something, some things to do and not to do, and hope you enjoyed this. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and I'll see you on the next version refinishing project from the next season.